guys, just give me a sec. I need to change my device.
And we are live. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. Welcome back to another episode of the DLT Sandwich, where we're getting into some HBAR news. We do HBAR news, we do token giveaways, we do all kinds of stuff. We take a layered approach at the sandwich here, and we like to get all those good ingredients in there, the olives, the lettuce, the tomatoes, all those things in the DLT sandwich. So really pleased to be joined this week by Caitlin Lance of the Creative Coast. So Creative Coast is an organization here in the lowland area of Savannah, Georgia. Their tagline, we create, code, and collide over here at Creative Coast. Jen Bonet, the director, and Caitlin Lance and myself have been working hand in hand really since I started this crazy journey in cryptocurrency back in 2018. So really happy to have Caitlin Lance join us. And of course, as you know, always a pleasure to have Brandon the HBAR Bull join us, get in some of that market news and some of the ecosystem insights. Brandon is a busy man in the HBAR space and always creating awesome content. So we appreciate Brandon being here. And of course, my main man, Tim Mungai in Kenya. Our main man, Tim, is here. And hopefully he's joined by Lanya today as well, but we'll see if Lanya makes a guest appearance. I also want to take a brief minute. So my name's Jeremy Fletcher. I am the CEO and co-founder of a little software company called Ledgerama. And we built the HBAR wallet, Wallawallet. And we're working on some great improvements to Wallawallet. And so stay tuned for those. Happy to bring these jam token giveaways to everybody so people can get some of these awesome Hedera tokens into their hands. And to that end, I do want to thank Andrew Antar over at Tune.fm for helping us out with these promotional jam tokens. It's really great. It's a great thing to be able to put these tokens into people's hands so they can see how fast and how efficient and how cheap it is to transact on the Hedera network. So this is something that we're super happy to do. So without further ado, we'll kick off episode 8 of the DLT Sandwich here. How's your week been, Brandon? How things going in your end of the world?
Good. So I just put a weekend update out over the weekend. We covered the JSON RPC relay. We covered what Banxa is doing. They're doing some amazing stuff, building some important infrastructure. And early last week we had Hashboard on as well. So yeah, it's going well. And next week we're looking forward to going down to consensus, bringing Hedera to consensus. Yep.
All right. So you're going to be down. So you're going to be in consensus.
I will.
Awesome. So you're going to be doing any live streaming from there? Maybe we'll have to. What is there? I'm not sure when the dates on consensus are. If it's happening on a Monday, maybe we can do. If there's time for it, maybe we can do a DLT sandwich from consensus.
Not quite. It's going to be the end of this week and over the weekend. But I'm going to try to get some content in for sure.
All right. Good deal. All right, so the first part of the DLT sandwich, the first layer here that we get into is Market Mondays. So happy to have Brandon the HBAR Bull. He is certainly he's well steeped and entrenched in the markets and with that market knowledge. So can you give us a little breakdown of how things went last week and over the weekend in the cryptocurrency markets, Brandon?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So it's been looking a little bit better as the weekend's gone on. Bitcoin is, of course, drives a lot of the crypto market, and it's influenced by risk assets in general. It's up 6% on the week. A lot of that move has come over the last day. It's sitting at around 31,400. Ethereum is also up a similar amount, and it's sitting just over 19,000. And then HBAR is up about the same amount. It's about 6% on the week. So it's not doing bad, and it's sitting at about 9.6 cents. Most risk assets, just in general, have been kind of going through a consolidation pattern. HBAR is actually kind of in a symmetrical triangle, and usually, like a symmetrical triangle will break out or break down to whatever the trend was before. It'll kind of continue following that trend. And unfortunately, that trend's been down. But just this morning, with the move that we had in the crypto space, it's actually broken out of that symmetrical triangle to the top side. So hopefully we'll be able to get some continued move. It really hasn't been confirmed yet. It's just barely broken out of that triangle. And the triangle is only a little over 3 weeks old anyway. So we'll see what comes of that. But, of course, right now with what the Federal Reserve is doing, we have the old adage, don't fight the Fed, right? And they're raising interest rates, which are just going to put pressure on all those risk assets, put pressure on stocks. And for the most part, HBAR has kind of, or the crypto complex in general has kind of been following those risk assets and tech stocks and things like that. That can change at any time. Sometimes crypto gets correlated with those other assets, and sometimes it doesn't. But it was interesting over the weekend. I was listening to Jeff Dorman. He's the CIO at ARK Invest, and it's pretty much a crypto focused fund. And he was talking about how he likes to value different cryptocurrencies, and specifically about layer ones. And one thing that he likes to look at with networks that are mature, like Ethereum, what do the fees look like? How's that revenue generation through fees? But he said you kind of have to look at new platforms a little bit differently. You have to kind of look at them as countries instead of as businesses. And you want to look at the rails that are being built, the key infrastructure that's being built. And with Hedera, that's being built. We talked to Banxa over the weekend and how they're integrating with banks throughout the world and making it easy to get HTS, USDC, and then of course the rails that are getting built with Saucer Swap and our other dexes. Of course, they're not completely launched yet, but they're going to be getting there. And then of course, going back, I do think eventually HBAR is going to be valued based off of the revenue from fees. And when you have things like Atma.io coming online, that's going to generate a tremendous amount of fee revenue. I think a lot of these traditional investors are going to start to look at the space as what's the price to earnings on these platforms. And with Hedera being the most efficient, and that's been independently verified from a couple different places. So we had University College London did that study that showed that Hedera was the most efficient network. And of course, that from an environmental standpoint, that's important, but it's also important from a fee standpoint. A lot more of those fees can be used to build out the network. More of those fees can be used to, support nodes and pay token holders and things like that. And I really do think once we get down the line and Hedera gets more mature and we get more of these networks coming online, that's how they're going to be valued. The other thing that I wanted to touch on today, of course, give a quick stater update. Total locked value is one thing that shows kind of the health of the DeFi ecosystem, and we're already starting to build those rails with stater. We have over 560 million HBAR total value locked on that stater platform. The HBAR X, which is the liquid token that can be moved back and forth while you're accruing rewards, is right now worth 1.073 HBAR, and that number just keeps going up. The APY is at about 43%. That's going to be reduced here at the end of June. It was kind of like an introductory rate, but hopefully that's going to still be a significant return. But yeah, so that's where we are in the market. Besides that, I do want to let everybody know I do some work for the HBAR Foundation, but all the opinions I just gave are just mine. They have nothing to do with anything the foundation is putting out. So that's pretty much all I got. Do you have any questions there, Jeremy?
Well, and of course, also just to tag on the end of that, this is not to be taken as financial or investment advice. We're folks on YouTube sharing our opinions about the markets and the technology. They're educated opinions, but they are opinions. Of course, you've got to do your own research. So don't take it as an investment advice, but we're happy to share all the information that we can. So just a couple of things, just for Caitlin's benefit. Caitlin being fairly new to the HBAR space, couple items or a couple terms that you threw out there that I thought it might be good to go over. So you talked about HTS, HUSDC. Now that's one of the ones that so that's a little bit of an alphabet soup.
Sure.
So just to briefly mention what Brandon's talking about there. So HTS is the Hedera token service. So there's a handful of services that are offered on the Hedera network, Caitlin, and the Hedera token service is one of those. So there's the consensus service, there's the token service, now there's smart contracts 2.0. There's also a file service, and of course there's cryptocurrency for just sending and receiving. But the HTS is basically the service that is utilized on the Hedera network to mint new tokens. So in the Ethereum world, there's a whole bunch of different tokens, and they're represented by a certain smart contract on the Ethereum chain. Whereas in the Hedera network, the tokens can be created natively, and that's through the Hedera token service. And one of those tokens is USDC. So USDC is a stable coin, And it's USDC has really become kind of the most popular, particularly here in the States. It's become very popular. It's working its way up. I don't know if it's really, I can't say that it's overtaken Tether. Tether is the other popular stablecoin. Both Tether and USDC, of course, are based off of US dollars. That is the currency, or the fiat currency that they peg themselves to. But USDC is just doing a lot of great things in the space. They have a 1-for-1 backing for their stablecoin. So Caitlin and I were talking a little bit earlier today about the drama and everything that went on in the Terra Luna space, and how the breakdown of the Terra Luna network essentially was related to their stablecoin, and how it wasn't fully backed. And when there was some big moves made on their stablecoin, basically it kind of created it kind of had an avalanche effect on the rest of the network. And it was largely tied to the fact that the UST, which was the Terra stablecoin, was not fully backed, whereas USDC is fully backed, and it's fully backed by US treasuries. Brandon, help me out here. What are some of the items that are backing the USDC token?
Yeah, so it's either US dollars, actually US dollars in a bank account, or short-term treasuries. So the short-term treasuries, they can use, a little bit further out down the line. Treasuries are, 1 month, 3 month, something along those lines. So they're all pretty much US dollars. Anything that they need to refund the USDC, they can use those dollars in a bank account at any time. And then they keep a little bit in the treasuries to address future needs. But yeah, it's 100% backed essentially with US dollars. Tether is mainly, I think it's completely backed, but they did have some issues there early on, and it may not be 100% back. I know there's some loans involved there, but thus far it's held up all right, even when stressed, when we had the issues with Terra Luna and UST. Right,
and so USDC is a product. I'll call it a product, a platform. Basically, it's the child of a company called Circle. And the CEO of this company, Circle, his name is Jeremy Allaire, and I really like watching him talk. He's a great speaker. Always has awesome ideas, and he's quite close to folks up in Washington. So, so when you see Senate hearings on cryptocurrency, Jeremy Allaire is somebody that the U.S. Senate has a tendency to call on for guidance and insight into the space. So USDC is kind of becoming what I refer to as the creme de la creme of stablecoins, and we are really excited. We were super excited in the Hedera space when Circle and USDC decided to go with Hedera, to utilize the Hedera network to mint one of the flavors of their token, I'll call it, for lack of a better term, because USDC is available on a number of different networks, right? Polygon. What are some of the other networks that I know? I believe Polygon.
Of course, Hedera. The big one's Ethereum, but yeah, they have others. I think I think Algorand and a few of the other ones that they're minted on. But yeah, we're excited about it being minted on Hedera. It's going to be good to have that medium of exchange for DeFi and things like that, and just in general for payments for merchants like Glenn, to have that option's certainly helpful.
Right, and so real quickly, since I was joined by a couple extra folks, I want to introduce real quickly Glenn McCreedy. Been working with Glenn hand in hand for quite a while now. He's one of the OGs in the space as well. Actually, I think back when Hedera still had the Hedera Boost program, Glenn and I were right there in the very early days when Hedera was giving these micro grants for the Boost program. Glenn and I have been working together, and Glenn's product and platform, inara.world, which is a streaming ebooks platform. When the page turns, the author earns. So Glenn, really appreciate you being here. And Phil Marnell is joining us from Savannah as well. He's interested primarily in the medical industry, and I look forward to getting Jim Nasser on here one of these weeks. So Phil and maybe some other folks. There's actually quite a bit of folks in the Savannah area that are in medical technology. So looking forward to get some of those folks on, and maybe get Jim Nasser on here to talk as well. So Caitlin, is any of this stuff does it create any strange questions or burning questions, or what does this topic bring up for you?
Well, at the moment, I'm just taking it all in. As someone who I have purchased some crypto, but for me, it's all about learning right now and trying to kind of keep up with what you guys are talking about. So I might have some notes at the end. I'm taking some notes, and I might hit you with some questions at the end if that's okay.
Hey,
I am
absolutely.
moderating. Yeah, I am moderating the chat, and somebody unrelated to crypto wants to know how they grow a beard like you.
Oh, so I'll hit that one real quickly. So when the pandemic hit, I just decided to let it go. And I was going to just let it go until the pandemic was over. But at some point, my wife said, "This is crazy. You got to get rid of this beard." I mean, it was really getting pretty unruly. So I had trimmed it back a little bit, but I don't know. I think I've got a little bit of Santa Claus in my DNA or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm born with it. Not really sure, but appreciate the question. Yeah. So right, and by the way, Caitlin, yeah, happy to any questions that you have. If you want to save those for next week, or if you save them for the end of the call, and you want to throw those out there, I like to take questions from the audience or really from anybody like yourself. And then if we don't answer it in this one, let's come back and answer it again next week, because sometimes there's just too many, sometimes there's just too much stuff to cover.
Yeah, I'm definitely jotting stuff down. So I'm sure I'll come back with some questions next week, if not at the end. So.
All right, great. Okay, so moving into HBAR news. So there was some mention of staking, and that's right. That was another one that I thought that in my head, I'm thinking, I bet Caitlin would probably like to talk about staking and what staking means. And we're not talking about ribeyes or we're not talking about sirloin or ribeyes. We're talking about a different kind of staking. And that is one of the big items of news in the Hedera space. So proxy staking looks like Hedera improvement proposal 406. Has been approved, and HIP 406 is the improvement proposal relating to staking. So that is huge news for us, because everybody in the Hedera space is, that's kind of, instead of win Lambo, you hear win staking and win step function. Those are kind of the we get those questions a lot. So the approval of HIP 406 is big. Basically, the HIP was authored by none other than Dr. Lehman Baird himself. So it's coming from on high in the Hedera space, which is awesome. And from what I understand, it was the most commented on and most talked about improvement proposal to date for Hedera. So it got tons of attention, which of course we would expect. And basically, what that means is that within we don't know exactly when, but within the fairly near future, we're hoping at least by the end of the year, native staking on Hedera will be available, and that's hugely important. And I want to get into staking and what that means a little bit later on. We're going to do that in our Choose Your Own Adventure part of the show. We'll get into talking about staking a little bit more. But suffice to say that it is huge to see that coming. Now we do have the Stater Lab staking, but that's not native Hedera staking. That's basically a staking use case that came along and has been supported by the HBAR Foundation, and as Branch had mentioned, has been offering some crazy returns thanks to the generosity of the HBAR Foundation. But like all things, eventually that will come to an end. Those crazy percentages will start to wind down and get into a little bit more realistic and sustainable returns. But great to see it in the meantime. But yeah, so native staking coming to Hedera is absolutely huge. So next we've got the hackathon, right? So the Hedera 22 hackathon related to smart contracts 2.0. The hackathon, the winners have been announced. So there was a first place, second place, and third place announced, and there was a whole bunch of different prizes. This has been, from what I understand, this was the best turnout that they've had out of any of the Hedera hackathons. Of course, for folks that have heard me talk in the past, they know that basically Wallawallet and Ledgerama, our company, sprang out of the first Hedera hackathon, Hedera 18. So hackathons obviously hugely important to the ecosystem and to the space. Rob and myself would not have met and started our company had we not participated in that hackathon out in Dallas. So these are really huge. And there was tons of money, like about $500,000 worth of prizes given out, is what I understand, something like that. There was a lot of prizes given out in this hackathon. So first place was taken by a name that we've seen before in the Hedera space, Humankind. Once again, taken one of the top prizes with a product called Deal Designer, powered by Humankind, which is a low-cost, easy-to-use platform creating highly customizable product offers that, and I love this part of it, with incentivized sharing. right? So that is one of the incentivized sharing is one of the cool use cases, particularly with the low fee cryptocurrencies like Hedera. Incentivized sharing is something that we've talked about quite a bit. You know, basically, Rob and I, one of our long lead visions, something we call Treasure 6, deals with incentivized sharing as well. So that's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And basically, they want to give back to the community through transparent, decentralized, charitable. So essentially, the way that it works, as I understand it, is if you get something like a coupon for a hamburger, right, a delicious hamburger, and you've got a half off coupon. If you share that with friends, then you get money off. So the coupon basically increases when you share it, which is really cool. So if you've got a coupon and you share it with your friends, for you, the value of that coupon becomes a little bit more. So you get like another $1 off. And then on top of that, so I think, if I understand it correctly, it was basically split to where if you share a coupon, your coupon becomes more valuable, which is awesome. And you also get money to give to a charity that you've chosen. So that is super cool. Love these social good causes, and being able to, not only save more money yourself, but give back to charities. Humankind really doing some awesome stuff. Any comments on Humankind or the deal designer? For any folks that might have taken a look at that?
Not too much, Jeremy, but the HBAR Foundation just started their YouTube channel, and there's pitches from several of the different participants in the hackathon, including Humankind. The audio is not great on the Humankind one, but most of the other ones are really good. But yeah, if you want to check it out, you can just check out their YouTube channel.
Awesome. And we'll make sure that the links to these videos, because it's a pretty short, there's a 5-minute pitch video that Humankind did. And they just do great work. I mean, I'm not sure who it is. I think they must have some pretty significant backing. I'm not sure exactly where Humankind is coming from. I'm not sure who it is that's supporting Humankind. I haven't really done that deep dive, but really ever since they came out swinging, and I believe it was Hedera 21 or 20, I forget which hackathon it was, but one of the last hackathon, basically they came out swinging with some really awesome products. So Humankind, again, doing great things in the space. Second place in the Hedera 22 hackathon went to a product called Unify. And Unify is working on something called Ricardian contracts. Basically, Unify creates human and machine readable legal contracts through a flexible and versatile parameter. Boy, I love this technical stuff when they get technical in these. Flexible and versatile parameter extraction engine with security and convenience of self-execution on Hedera. So basically what they're doing is these Ricardian contracts are a way to create legal contracts that are machine readable. So basically it's readable by a lawyer and can be interpreted and understood by a lawyer, but it also can be understood by machines and executed there. And they're also working on some things like insurance automated policies. And basically they're utilizing smart contracts. There's a relationship established between the document via the smart contracts. And then third place in the Hedera 22 hackathon went to flexible NFT royalty distribution. So that's one of the things with these tokens. Basically these tokens can be set up. One of the cool features is that they can be set up and built to have royalties built in, such that if I'm an artist and I create an NFT and that NFT gets sold, if I set it up in such a way that when that NFT gets sold, if it gets sold again, I can have royalties come back to me. Similarly, I mean, of course, this is really great for things like the streaming music and music NFTs that teams like Tune.fm are building on, and this goes, I mean, this speaks really well to Glenn's use case as well, where authors could essentially, if they take their book, their novel or whatever it is, and turn that into an NFT, and that gets distributed, that down the line, they can receive royalties for that. Glenn, you want to talk about what royalties and NFTs mean for Inara and what kind of use cases?
It's kind of like a Wild West sort of, thing that we've been thinking about, talking with people about, and trying to get into a discovery mode for the greater part of a year now, ever since non-fungible tokens kind of like hit the big time, and Hedera launched their Hedera token service. And we've just been watching this space just sort of seeing the development. So this is a very interesting development. What is the name of this company again?
So this was flexible NFT royalty distribution, providing a more flexible rate-based NFT royalty distribution process for stakeholders based on smart legal contracts to assign distribution proportions based on the transfer value of the token.
Sounds like we need to talk with these people.
Yeah, right. So
no,
yes, yeah. Links will links will be in there, and and I'm sure that reaching out to any of the folks over, Lena, or any of our normal contacts over at Hedera, or I guess maybe even Swirlds now, with the change in the guard. But any Swirlds Lab, I'm still essentially calling them Hedera. So yeah, we were joined by Lou. Hey, Lou. Lou's another local Savannah, happy to have you on the panel, bud. Lou and I go way back. Actually, the very first Savannah Hedera meetup, Lou was my co-host and executive chef. Lou used to make the awesome Chinese food that we would, the homemade Chinese food that we'd sit around and eat at the Hashgraph meetups way back in the day, back in 2018. So thanks for joining us, Lou. And then in other HBAR news, what I picked up on was the new fiat ramp, Banxa. So Banxa coming out and offering this the Hedera flavor of USDC. So what can you tell us about Banxa, Brandon? I'll send that one over to you since you had the conversation with him.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, as you said, they're all about the infrastructure, working with the banking system to make crypto more accessible to pretty much the entire community. One of the things that I was really impressed with was, I asked, okay, so the easiest thing to do is go and get USDC on your platform, and then go ahead and deposit it to whatever wallet you're going to be using for DeFi. And Josh, I forget if he's the COO or something along those lines with Banxa. He's like, well, actually, you can go directly to Hashback Wallet, and we're going to integrate with them and allow you to buy the USDC right there. So, and of course, the Hashback Wallet is the most used wallet as far as on, as a Chrome extension, and it's going to be integrated into most of our DeFi platforms and all that kind of stuff. So that certainly makes things really easy. And then I asked, well, how will people be able to buy? Is it going to be with a credit card, ACH payment? And he said yes to both. So they're making it really easy to get USDC or HBAR or other HTS tokens as well. And they're also integrating HTS non-fungible tokens as well. So pretty much across the board, they're going to facilitate everything.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, we'll be taking a look at it. We'll be taking a look at Banxa, of course, as as a wallet provider ourselves. We'll be taking a look at Banxa and what their offerings are. I mean, we've had a great relationship with MoonPay, and we're happy to support MoonPay, but we definitely want to be able to offer USDC as well. So we'll be taking a look at Banxa. And so that kind of wraps up all of the HBAR news that I had for today. Are there any other HBAR related news that folks want to share out there? Glenn, you're welcome to. Tim, Brandon, you're all welcome to share any of the HBAR news that you have that's interesting that you'd like to bring to the table. If not, we're going to go ahead and move on into the Choose Your Own Adventure part of the show. And our adventure for this episode 8 of the DLT sandwich here, we're going to get into staking just a little bit. All right, so pretty heady topic here. And I wish I had, Rob on the call to get into some of the juicy technical details if we needed to. But basically, we'll keep it as simple as we can. So essentially, there's a handful of different types of cryptocurrency networks, and proof of work is one of the most common, and that's something like you're going to see with Bitcoin and Ethereum. They have a proof of work system where through miners, through the cryptocurrency miners, that's how consensus is established, and that's also how records are kept. And through proof of work, they're solving these big crazy algorithms, these big crazy math problems. And as a reward for solving these big crazy math problems, you're rewarded with tokens on the network. The other flavor of consensus mechanism is proof of stake. So you got proof of work, and then you got proof of stake. My understanding is that Ethereum is looking to shift, or is shifting, to a proof of stake model because of the incredible energy demands that are placed on these proof of work network. So folks out there may be familiar and may have heard of the incredible amount of energy that is consumed by these proof of work networks. But proof of stake, on the other hand, so staking is the process by which a user stakes cryptocurrency, in this case HBAR, in their account directly or indirectly to a node, right? So basically what you're doing with staking is you're letting the node essentially hold on to your cryptocurrency, and they call that staking. And nodes use the stake, the tokens that are staked to their node, use them to weight their contributions to consensus. So staking enables community nodes by securing the network, by making things like sybil attacks prohibitively expensive to execute. So there's a cost to join the network and to have a vote, and the resource requirement limits the number of accounts that a bad actor can create. So just to talk a little bit about a sybil attack, basically a sybil attack is where somebody would spin up a bunch of fake accounts that are all controlled by one person, and then use those fake accounts to affect consensus on a distributed ledger, right? So they can spin up all kinds of, so one person or one entity could spin up a bunch of fake accounts, and we see this in things like election. I don't know, not election fraud, but election influencing, right? So that we know that there's been a number of universities here in the United States that that are familiar with, that know that other state entities in other parts of the world have these organizations that spin up a bunch of other fake accounts, and things like Twitter accounts. They'll spin up a bunch of Twitter accounts and then use those other Twitter accounts to try and affect people's opinions one way or the other. So it's kind of a way of creating a divide and spreading fake news and that kind of stuff through social media. So that same principle applies to distributed ledger networks, where if you've got the ability for one person to spin up a bunch of accounts that affect consensus, that's a problem. However, if you use the process of staking, then essentially the nodes then require, if they have a bunch of cryptocurrency staked to their node, that gives them additional weight in the consensus. And so essentially you may be able to spin up, once Hedera gets to the permissionless nodes, technically you would be able to spin up as many nodes as you wanted. You might be able to spin up a bunch, but if they don't have any cryptocurrency staked to them, then they're not really going to have any weight in the consensus. And basically you're just kind of wasting your money and spinning up nodes for nothing. So the benefit of staking, of course, is that if you've got a node, like if Wallawallet wanted to create, once Hedera goes permissionless, if Wallawallet and Ledgerama, if we wanted to create a node, we would love to have our users stake to Wallawallet and stake to the Wallawallet node, and that would give our node weight and consensus. And basically, it contributes to the decentralized nature of the ledger. So that is my my brief, maybe not so brief explanation of staking, but I'd love to hear other thoughts and ideas about it. Brandon, what's you're right there. I mean, you've been talking to Stater Labs, and I know that you're involved in some of the other, you're involved in some of the efforts, at least aware of them. Can you give us a little bit of insight into the staking mechanism and what that means for the network?
Sure. Well, I mean, HBAR has a few different purposes, or two main purposes. One is to fuel the network, and that's to pay for the fees for the API calls. And the other is to do exactly what you said, and secure the network. And the way it does that, of course, as you mentioned, proof of work, you have to have some kind of limited resource. If not, if you don't have a limited resource, then anybody can attack the network. When it comes to proof of work, that limited resource is electricity. Right. And the only issue there is, well, other things need electricity too, and electricity costs money, and electricity creation of electricity can cause environmental issues and all that kind of stuff. So those are the issues that go along with proof of work networks. But of course, proof of stake networks, the limited resource is the cryptocurrency. Right? They can use the cryptocurrency as the limited resource. Now, it's a construct of the network, but as soon as it has value in the market, and there's economic forces that will drive it up if somebody tries to corner the market or to get a third of the stake, that is going to force the price up, and it's going to make it prohibitive for somebody to attack the network. And of course, that's the kind of network that Hedera is. Ethereum, of course, wants to move away from proof of work, which is inefficient, to proof of stake, but they're finding out that that's pretty difficult. And even if they do go through with the merge, which probably won't happen until the fall if they're lucky, and it keeps getting pushed back, they still won't be nearly as efficient as Hedera. With Ethereum, once they've gone through and moved to proof of stake, I think they're supposed to be able to handle about 1,500 transactions per second. Hedera right now out of the box can do 10,000 transactions per second, but that's throttled down. It can handle as is many tens of thousands of transactions per second. And if the nodes move from using CPUs to GPUs, it can handle probably much more than that. And it's already designed to be sharded. So it can essentially have unlimited scaling. So even if they're successful in moving to proof of stake at Ethereum, there's still going to be plenty of use cases that need that really high throughput that Hedera is capable of. But as you mentioned, they went through the first step of approving Hedera Improvement Proposal 406. Now they're going to have to write the code, make sure everything's right, check it, double check it, move on to putting it on preview net and then test net, and then of course on the main net. And that's going to take a little bit of time, but I don't think it's going to be too long. I think it was delayed a little bit because of all that conversation and debate and deliberation around the details for it. But I think it'll come before too long.
Right. And I mean, it's probably the most important HIP that I've seen come along. I can't think of one. I mean, of course, the NFT related HIPs are of course hugely important in the royalty. So as an example, we were talking about royalties earlier. That was introduced to the Hedera network through the HIP process, the Hedera Improvement Proposals. So that's how things change and how things happen in this distributed ledger network. Of course, there's Dr. Lehman Baird, of course, he's one of the participants. While he is the founder and he's kind of he's the genius that came up with this network and the algorithm that runs it, the consensus mechanism. But at the end of the day, he's one participant in the network. And so while we love seeing the proposals coming from Lehman Baird, it is a community-based process. It's not something that's run by a dictator. Dr. Lehman Baird is not a dictator, and I think he would tell you that he doesn't want to be a dictator. That's not doesn't seem to align with his ethos. So,
I guess one thing we probably should explain to Caitlin why the Hedera community gets excited about this. The vast majority of in the Hedera community are HBAR holders, right? They're investors. They've bought the token, and what staking allows is one of the is the mechanism to incentivize people to stake to one of those nodes, and they incentivize you by offering some kind of a staking reward paid in HBAR, and then it also rewards the nodes themselves. So either way, but that's why people get excited about it, because it's a way to get a return to amplify your HBAR holdings.
Right, and so I did a little bit of back of the napkin math here. Now I don't, so don't take this is back of the napkin kind of stuff. So don't take this to the bank. But I just kind of wanted to get in this and see if you agree with me, or see if I'm somewhere in the ballpark here, Brennan. So as I was reading through this improvement proposal 406 for Hedera staking, in there it gave an example. This isn't something that's cooked in yet. This hasn't been decided. But as an example, if the Hedera Governing Council wanted to set the rewards for staking at an emission rate of 1 billion HBARs every 365 days, right? So the Hedera network has got a total. There's a total of 50 billion HBAR total in the network. Period. Right. So, but the Hedera Governing Council, of course, are the ones that govern how the tokens are distributed and how they flow in and out of the network. So, if they were to set the emission rate at 1 billion HBARs a year, that would be let's see, what have I got here? That would be 2,739,726 HBAR day. So basically 2.7 million HBAR per day would be emitted to basically everybody. So everybody that's staking HBAR, everybody that's got some of their HBAR staked to a node, like a Wallawallet node or a governing council node, whatever, So in total, that means approximately 2.7 million HBAR would be rewarded to the people staking every day. If HBAR were valued at 10 cents, that would be $273,000 and $273,972. So just above $270,000 worth of reward money every day that's going out to Hedera users, right? And so if you had your own node, right? So let's say I just wanted to spin up my own node. I'm going to spin up the Jeremy node, the JR node, and I've got a billion. I'm super rare. I've got a ton of it. I've got a billion HBAR, right? Which would be $100 million worth of value, right? At 10 cents, I'd be making $273,972 a day if I staked $100 million. So let's take it down and make it a little bit more realistic for my budget. Let's say, if I wanted to stake $10,000, right? So what I would be basically, it's a 0.274% by this math. So if I had $10,000 worth of HBAR staked to my wallet every day, I would be making $27.40 at about just a little over 1/4%. And this is of course all just kind of theoretical, because this was just a hypothetical situation that was thrown out there in the improvement proposal. That was a lot of number jargon. I'm not sure if any of that was clear, but basically, if I stake $10,000, it looks like by this math, I would make about $27 a day.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it a couple different ways. If there was a billion HBAR on 50 billion HBAR total supply, that's 2% per annum. That would be the yield. But of course, there's going to be a node reward, and then there's going to be a token reward. So we don't know how that split's going to be. If it's 50-50, it would be 1% for each. But we'll have to see how that all hammers out.
Right. Right.
But of course, that's on the hypothetical 1 billion that we don't know if that's going to be the case, or even if they're going to reward the tokens that are held in treasury, or if it's just going to be circulating supply or what. We'll have to see.
Right. Right. So yeah, just the long story condensed is that if you stake HBAR, you get money back, and so it's a reward. Right. And that contributes to, then that's kind of at the center of what decentralization is all about. Right, people contributing some value to a node that is running the network and providing all the benefits and all the services that the network is capable of providing.
There's also some value that guys can get from Sosa Swap. I saw there's a means for people to earn rewards by giving their whatever it is that they are staking, by providing liquidity to people. Then you add some reward.
That's right.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah, you can provide liquidity pairs for decentralized exchanges, and I don't think it's fully live yet. But when it comes, people are going to be excited about it, because you can go, and if there's a liquidity pair between HBAR and USDC, you supply that liquidity and you get a return for it.
Right. And Dovu as well. Dovu offers staking. And Dovu is by far one of the more popular Hedera tokens in the space. So folks that are interested in checking out staking solutions, Dovu is definitely something that I would check out. All right. So that basically is bringing me to the end of the content that I wanted to share today. Is there other news that we want to share out there? Glenn, have you got any product news? Anything that you want to share about Inara?
Yeah, we're working hard, moving towards launch of our open beta. We're right on the cusp. We're working through a couple of technical challenges. That's always the case, right? When you're moving towards a major transition in your product. But we're getting those worked out, and we're really excited about this $5 drop wallet promotion that we're doing with Drop. That's one of the little threads that we're working in, getting fully integrated into the Inara product right now. But essentially, what Drop is doing is leveraging a HBAR Foundation grant that they received to front load $5 in every new drop digital wallet that is downloaded for users, in our case, Inara users who sign up for Inara, and they'll need to get a drop wallet to be able to access our service. And once they do, that drop wallet will be front loaded with $5, so they can just start reading without any need to attach a credit card or activate ACH for a bank account. Now, of course, you use up the $5, then you've got to ante up with something.
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it gives people a chance to try out Inara, to enjoy the benefits and explore it, discover, and take advantage of having free $5, right? So we encourage people to go to our website, inara.world. That's INARA.world. Check us out and get started. We haven't officially launched the open beta. We do have a live product. So people who are on this, as part of this presentation or viewing this presentation, sort of get a little special heads up on what's going on with Inara. But we will do an official launch, and we'll have some other exciting things to announce at that time. And it's an exciting time. Just so real quick, so people in the audience who aren't familiar with Inara, real quick, we solve a reader discovery problem because you generally have to buy a book or subscribe to a service to really find out if a book is right for you. And on the author side, it's a new revenue stream. It's a new way of making money, supporting your craft. We're really excited about generating this transformation in the creator economy. So essentially what you do is you just get, the best way to do it is pick up your smartphone, go to Inara, open up an ebook, and just start reading. And then every time you turn that page, a tiny payment, a micro payment, flows from your digital wallet to the author or the publisher's wallet. And so, as you indicated, Jeremy, when the page turns, the author earns, and that's our model. So we're excited to be. We've been in the publishing business for a long time, and there's a lot of legacy aspects to book publishing that are just ripe for transformation. So we're excited to be a part of that.
So now, if either authors or readers want to sign up, is this are you looking for both authors and readers to sign up for beta?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. We readers, of course, are sort of, that's kind of like the end game, right? So that's the experience. So we're excited to draw more readers in, and authors. We're still in a kind of like getting into a product fit mode here, and so we come out of the fiction world, in terms of our experience. So the majority of books on the Inara platform right now are fiction. We do have some nonfiction. We're really excited to be talking with writers, authors in all genres, in all forms of publication, because we are, again, we're exploring this. We've been talking with a lot of people out there, a lot of customers, a lot of people in the industry, in a lot of different facets of it, everything from scientific, technical, to creative nonfiction, to we're just and there's a way to contact us on site. So if you've got some ideas, you've got some you'd like to try something, hey, we're all ears.
Right. Awesome. So thanks for that, Glenn. And just to briefly mention, both Glenn, Tim, myself, we're all part, and Brandon, we're all part of something called the HBAR Foundry, not to be confused with the HBAR Foundation. HBAR Foundry was first. I will say that it's a group that's been around since August of 2020, and essentially we're business folks and technologists that are interested in building on Hedera space. So if anybody's interested in checking out and learning a little bit more about the HBAR Foundry, you can check out hbarfoundry.com, and you're welcome to drop us a line there and learn a bit. It's a pretty simple website at this point, but you're welcome to drop us a line, and we'll reach out to you with more information. We meet every Friday. We talk shop, and we've been doing this for a few years now. So it's a great opportunity every Friday to get together kind of towards the end of the week with people that are in the space and talk shop and blow off steam and work through problems. And we've been, working to set standards and help solve problems in the Hedera space for a long time. So happy to continue doing that. All right, so that brings us to my favorite part of the show, where we get to announce the winner of the 10,000 jam tokens. So let me switch back over here. So this week, our lucky 10,000 jam token winner is, drum roll please, affirmationnft.hbar, Twitter handle @affirmationnft. So that is our 10,000 jam token winner for this week. Happy to reach out. We'll be reaching out to Affirmation NFT here on Twitter here in a little bit to let you know how to go ahead and receive your jam tokens. And so were there any, before we go ahead and close up, was there any last minute items that we want to take care of? All right, so I'll go ahead and, we'll go ahead and end it there. Again, I just want to thank everybody for being here. We do this every week, and so your participation, both from the panelists and from the audience, is huge. Brandon, Tim, Caitlin, Glenn, Lou, Phil, I mean, it'd be pretty boring, and I'd feel pretty lonely if you folks weren't here helping me out. So I appreciate everybody joining us. My name is Jeremy Fletcher, CEO and co-founder of a little software company called Ledgerama. I want to thank Brandon and the HBAR Bull and the Hedera Forum for all the work that they do, giving that awesome content. I want to thank Tim for being our huge supporter and being just an awesome, outspoken person over there in Kenya, helping our folks out in Africa. Glenn, we've been working together forever. I just want to thank everybody. Creative Coast, Caitlin Lance, Director Jin Bonet. Creative Coast has been helping us, go through this crazy world as a startup for a long time. And of course, I want to thank Andrew Antar and the Tune.fm team for providing us with these awesome jam tokens. And all right, so that's it for this, for episode 8 of the DLT Sandwich. If you want to catch any of the links, of course, those links will be posted in the description below. And if you did like the content, don't forget to give us a like and give us a subscribe. We appreciate everybody's participation. That's how we know that folks are actually engaging with this and find it interesting. Please leave us a comment, leave us a like, and we will talk to you all next week. Have a great week, everybody. And that's us signing off for this one. See you next time.